I already told you he's coming back to seminar. And why do these guys, and I'm not trying to upsell you, why do all these guys that are making all this money come back? Because default, and default's worse when you're rich. Now, you can't relate to that, but default's worse when you're rich because everybody tells you how fucking smart you are. And we all like, to a certain extent, smoke blowing up our ass. That's just human nature. All of a sudden, the guys that you had cut out of your life and that you didn't give them the phone number find out about your success. And they're on you like a cheap fucking suit. Oh, I know you've been busy doing all these deals. Let's do lunch, you know. But rich default is worse than poor default because you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and then I guarantee when you go out to lunch and dinner, there's only one guy picking up the tab, and it's you. That's a little harder for the Dutch. Dutch have deep pockets and short arms. They got deep pockets and short arms. You know? Well, I left my wallet. Thought she needed $40,000 a year. It doesn't matter. In the critical sense that we talk about cash flow having to cover debt service, but it doesn't really have to cover debt service if you push the payments out far enough. Now he's got this other one he's closing. He's got a couple others.
How's the balance between seller deals, sellers finance deals, and
what's the balance?
Yeah.
For now, 75-80% of the guys are doing seller finance deals because it takes between 30 and 90 days to get a bank to react. Closer to 75 days if it's your first deal with a bank because they're being real careful, crossing the T's and dotting the I's and getting through the credit committee. Seller finance, it takes 6 hours. You don't have to be Einstein to figure this out. You can even be, French Canadian. I mean, you don't have to, you can be as thick as 2 short planks, as they say here in Britain. And his CFO, he gets rid of him right when he's supposed to be doing the due diligence because it was a small deal. They didn't engage their accountants because they're going to do the due diligence himself. And he did it himself. And he's, he should have figured it out before the fucking thing closed. The lady stole money out of the goddamn account she was supposed to leave. The first things you check when you take over a company are the cash balances, or actually just before you take it over. And then you would have known that she took a third of the cash balance that was supposed to be left in the company.
What was left in the account covered
28
fees?
Yes. No, there were no fees. They didn't engage anybody. No fees. He just had cash flow to run the business the first month. And the in-house lawyer apparently hasn't paid him. He's going to roll it. I mean, that was the only person that did anything was the in-house lawyer. And that's the in-house lawyer. So he also didn't have any money to pay any fees to directors. And so now the next one, he'll overfinance. And it's not, remember, when he finances this deal, he's not refinancing it. He's financing it for the first time because he didn't finance it the first time. He self-financed it the first time. Refinance implies 2 financial refinances or finances, sometimes 2 financial institutions. So when he does refinance this or finance it, it's not going to be a refinance in the sense that another bank's coming in and taking out another bank. There's no bank to take out. It's just, and whether he chooses to pay off the seller or not, that's, depends with the covenants. Probably his loan agreement doesn't have any covenants. But 75% of the deals now, maybe even more, I haven't really run the numbers, are owner finance. And 95% of the deals are some portion of owner finance, maybe not 100% owner finance.
So then he could finance with the bank and then just pocket all that money?
Well, he could, yeah. Now, I'm not suggesting he's going to run like a thief in the night, but as some of those guys have on that wall, a good proportion of them are Dutch, by the way.
they can run?
Huh?
The payments were deferred for 5 years?
No, it was first 3 months, no payments, remember? Okay. Then they were $3,700 a month, balloon in the 5th year, but they were amortized. The payments were amortized over 10 years, which means the payments are really going to be about half because they're as if they were being paid over 10, but they're being paid over 5, except the first 3 months are not making any payment. That's a pretty sweet deal. Although, some of the kids will, you should be able to know where the money's coming from in 3 months. It would have been better if, for 6 months, but I mean, $1 invested to the best of my knowledge, and I'm being, I'm blowing smoke on my own ass now, but nobody out there tells you can buy companies for $1, let alone showing you how to buy companies for $1. And when I walk you through it, it's, as my daughter would say, it's easy peasy. I mean, it's not, the coefficient of friction and the sun and everything's got to be juxtaposed just right on the 29th day of February that only happens every 5 years. It's none of that stuff. Oh, yeah.
So then what loan would he use to take out the he wouldn't be purchasing it since he already has it.
No, he owns 100% of the company. There has to be consideration for assets to be purchased. Consideration, whether it's 1 penny, $1, or $1 million. There's got to be some consideration. His consideration was $1. He owns 100% of the company, 100% of the cash flow. Now, in the first 3 months, no payments whatsoever. From month 4 to month 60, the payments are amortized as if he was paying over 10 years. So they're roughly half as much, $3,700 a month. At the end of the 60th month, he will pay the balloon, which is really equivalent to 5 years payments. So 60 times, call it $4,000, $225,000 he'll owe in the 60th month. That's the balloon payment at the end of the 5th year.
I mean, do the banks do they know about that contract you have with the seller?
Well, I mean, there's no banks involved right now.
No, but when you refinance with the bank,
You're not refinancing, you're financing it, okay?
you're financing within 3 months.
Obviously, you're going to show them, you're not going to hide anything. You're going to show them, all your questions are, can we hide this? Can we hide this? Do we have to show them this? No wonder you had your problem before. Then I'm sure you didn't know anything about the deal that was going down, and you were carrying that thing with you just because you needed some extra weight in your belt. In his weekly reports, he doesn't know well, I won't say he doesn't know anything about what he's doing, but he doesn't know anything about what he's doing. Yeah, and he just, on the last Zoom call, he was in his car going to Walmart, 30 or 40 below zero in a blizzard, to go get toilet paper or some shit for the, But I mean, he got it done. I mean, the kid got it done. He sounds like a regular guy. I mean, if you didn't notice, I mean, he didn't sound like some of the other guys that we've talked to. And it just happened the last few weeks. It just happened. And he looks happy because he is happy. I mean, what is some takeaway from Chris? Other than it's easy peasy.
Change his focus. Shifted to assisted living.
Yeah, he switched to assisted living, and he thought he was going to be technology, I think he said. And but we've got guys closing them in technology like that. But the lady wanted out, and there are people. And he used, very unusual, he used mailers. That's how we did it in the 90s, through the beginning of the 2000s, before the internet got popular. He sent out 800 mailers, got 50 responses. That's old school. That's old school. But a lot of the people, and if I remember correctly, there was a register of all the assisted living in Montana, Idaho, or whatever that area is, and not all of them list phone numbers. So he just said owner, and I believe he said, and if you're not the owner, pass it on to the owner. So how many of the 800 actually got to the owner? But in that area, there was 800 of them. There's 45 or 50, there's 100,000 of them in America. In this country, there's 35,000. There's no shortage. There's no shortage, believe me.
How many of your QLA guys went, like, percentage-wise towards assisted living? Sounds like at least 20%.
Yeah, no, 25%, 25. And they still haven't stepped on each other. There's that many. Once in a while, two guys try to get the same guy for a CFO. That happens 3 or 4 times a year. That's about it. We've never had, that I know of, where they've crossed paths looking for chairman. CFO seems to be the area where, not that there's no shortage of CFOs, believe me, or potential CFOs. I never get tired of telling you the same thing, fortunately for me. But I mean, I tell you the same thing. I'm giving you different examples. Some of you can resonate with this guy. Some of you can resonate with Jamie. I could pick out of a hat, really. The next couple that you're going to see. Who's next?
Peter Harastis.
Oh, yeah. Peter twice?
Yes, sir. He's Zoom.
Okay, and what's tomorrow?
Tomorrow, live with
Oh, live. A man in the fight of the trenches today, fighting it out. The Al-Qaeda and the ISIS are coming over the fucking walls. Yeah, everybody. It's hand-to-hand combat. We're going to see tomorrow. That'll be interesting. It'll be good. I already got the email what he's going to talk about. And I said, yeah, tell him everything the truth. Tell him the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then I thought, maybe not, don't tell him all the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're going to have the guy in hand-to-hand combat tomorrow. But the two best deals that I've had in the last 20, 25 years, one guy. And so he's going to talk to us. I already told you he's coming back to the seminar. And why do these guys, and I'm not trying to upsell you, why do all these guys that are making all this money come back? Because default's worse when you're rich. Now, you can't relate to that, but default's worse when you're rich because everybody tells you how fucking smart you are. And we all like, to a certain extent, smoke blowing up our ass. That's just human nature. All of a sudden, the guys that you had cut out of your life and that you didn't give them the phone number find out about your success. And they're on you like a cheap fucking suit. Oh, I know you've been busy doing all these deals. Let's do lunch, But rich default is worse than poor default because you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then I guarantee when you go out to lunch and dinner, there's only one guy picking up the tab, and it's you. That's a little harder for the Dutch. Dutch have deep pockets and short arms. They got deep pockets and short arms. You know? Well, I left my wallet. we see Peter this afternoon. Any questions about Chris's deal? Yes, sir. CFO is coordinating what KPMG is doing. Okay.
And before acquisition, is CFO kind of full-time or?
No. When you get to the actual deal, I mean, he's going to go from 5, 6, 7 hours a month to 2, 3 hours a day because he's coordinating, he's making sure what's going on.
And one deal is closed.
Correct. Yes, correct. And then you've got money to pay him because then he's coming in full time. But you heard Chris's. I'm Googling to see what I'm supposed to do. But he has, what he left out is when you have these due diligence questionnaires that you're going to get, it's not so simple. I mean, because one questionnaire's got 100 questions. Some of the questions, you won't know what you're reading, okay? What are the earnings? If you reduce it to GAAP, what are the earnings? Well, you don't know what that means. GAAP is general accepted accounting procedures. They take cash flow accounting different than accrual. Well, you don't need to know that, but it's one of the questions on the due diligence. Your CFO will know it, you know. But Chris, I can just see he's Googling, cash versus accrual accounting, but he got it done. He's a good kid. I'm not making fun of him, but he doesn't sound like a financial wizard, because he's not. And when I say, I mean, you can get it done. Everybody in this room can get the deals done. There's nobody that's, whether English is your second primary language or not, doesn't make a shit. At first, up there in Montana, there's a lot of people from, is it Sweden or someplace? I thought that's where he was, and they still speak Swedish, and I said, oh fuck, how's he gonna get the deal? But he hit a pocket of English-speaking people, so he didn't have to worry. Getting deals done in Canada, though, in the French-speaking area, if you don't speak French, you're fucked. I mean, because there are plenty of areas, and all kidding aside, in Canada, that you better speak French if you're going to be doing deals up there. And they will, I don't know if resent is too strong a word, but they'll resent you if you're trying to buy their business and you don't speak French, for sure. But that's the only place that's like that. Okay, YouTube, thank you very much.